All right, always in love in sports and the law. 12-time Olympic gold medal winner Ryan Lochte was suspended for 10 months by the U.S. Olympic Committee and USA Swimming. The suspension, it stems from Lochte's actions while in Rio. He was punished for an altercation at a gas station as well as making claims that he was robbed. Lochte will miss the national championships and also will miss the world championships because of that. Sports and the law with Steve Moskowitz here. And for Ryan Lochte, Steve, is there any legal action he can take saying, you know, my livelihood, you're taking away my livelihood here?
Yes, there's a couple of things, especially a swimmer, you know, or any professional athlete. They don't have a long career. So there isn't appeals, but it's kind of like an in-house kangaroo court. I would go, well, I'm just telling how
No,
it is.
it's true. No, it's interesting.
And I would go into court and I would ask for an immediate injunction to let him go ahead and swim while they work this out in court. That's what I would do. That would get him the time he needs to compete. And he may be able to overturn it. You know, because once again, we go back to, is this too much punishment for the allegations against him?
Yeah, he's 32 years old. A 10-month penalty means he misses the U.S. Nationals. Then you have to miss the Worlds because you're not going to qualify. He also will not get his stipend from USA Olympics.
Yes.
So can he go back and say, hey, now you're hurting you're telling me I can't swim, I can't earn anything. Now I can't get my stipend?
It's not just money, because that can be made up later. It's irrevocable harm. You can't give him the time back. He's an athlete. You can't give him the time back.
All right, fair enough. Let's get to number 2 here. The U.S. government, they want the IRS to disclose the tax returns of a sports agent who was accused of smuggling Cuban players into the U.S. The government says the agent, Bartolo Hernandez, failed to file tax returns or pay taxes as evidence of their intent. All right, let's start with what is the government looking for in this?
They're looking for the tax returns, and what they're trying to do is say, if you look at the tax returns, if we reported the income, that shows he was doing the bad act, and if he didn't, that's tax evasion. And I wish I was the lawyer here, because I say, guys, wrong agency, that's not it. If the IRS wants to talk to him, fine. This is not the IRS. This is another agency of the government. You're not entitled to look at these returns.
So is the IRS, do they have to turn this?
The IRS refused. The other agency has gone to court asking the judge to order the IRS to turn over. A tax return is a big deal. When you actually go in the government, you see a tax return, there's actually a cover on it that says, this is a confidential document. Like, it's really a big deal. It's almost like top secret.
That's interesting. If the government has this thought about this agent, what should they do to go after him?
Their agencies, the current agency can say to the IRS, hey, why don't you investigate this guy? That's one thing. But this is the wrong agency. They should not be given that return. Remember, the IRS doesn't want to give it to them. They're asking the judge, go ahead and order it. No, this should not be.
That's very interesting. All right, let's get to our third story. The NFL...
Tax is always interesting.
Tax is always interesting. The NFLPA has sent their players a video encouraging them to report any concussion symptoms as soon as they are felt. The video is part of an education program on concussions for the players about effects of repeated head injuries. Why did the NFLPA do this?
Oh, limit liability, because what they're doing now is say, we warned you, don't be macho and go ahead and say you can play through it. The minute you have the least little thing, you report it, because what the guys aren't going to do that. They're going to be macho, and they're not going to do it because they want to play. But then when they try to sue, look, we warned you, we gave you this warning tape. Your fault, not NFL fault.
You know, that's interesting. If a player does not report it, because they might be afraid of losing their job, if they choose not to report it, can a team or the NFL be off the hook for any injury claim that may eventually come of this?
The answer is that would be a great defense. Not 100%, because he'll talk about the culture and he's afraid of his job. But the team says, look, we did everything we could. We warned you. If you choose to ignore the warning and lie to us and don't tell us that you're hurt, don't blame us now.
All right, fair enough on that one. So the NFLPA doing, but it's the right thing. There may be a legal reason for it, but the NFLPA...
Guarantee you the lawyer said play this, and that'll cut down on future liability.
All right, finally, the former personal assistant of retired NBA player Gilbert Arenas has dropped an appeal after he was convicted of stealing more than $2 million from the former Wizard and Warrior. John A. White was sentenced to 57 months in prison after being convicted of 11 counts of wire fraud and 4 counts of filing a false tax-related document. You're all about the taxes on this.
Love taxes.
All right, I got about 40 seconds here. What was he trying to do in this circumstance?
When you appeal a criminal conviction, it's called ineffective assistance of counsel, that your lawyer really did a bad job. Taken to the extreme, he fell asleep at counsel table. But he dropped it, and I believe the reason he dropped it was because of the sentence, because if he went forward, he would have gotten more than the 57 months. That's why he dropped it. He didn't have a good case there.
Fair enough. There you have it. Steve Moskowitz, Sports and Law.
Always
a pleasure, my friend. We will see you next week. That'll do it for Sports Talk Live. Up next, Sportsnet Central. Feldy and Fareed back in the big chairs, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Jim Kozimor. Good night.